Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional with a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And I just realized you can tell that this show is really live. I just realized my whole intro did not show out to the public. I think you saw the last few digits that went up for the countdown. So I apologize for that. So at any rate, tomorrow is a very interesting day. I think that's the best way to put it. It's an interesting day. Two things will happen tomorrow on January 20th in the year of our Lord 2025. The inauguration of a convicted felon will occur to the highest office in the land in the United States, and the commemoration for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his legacy. We will be celebrating. D9 sororities and fraternities all across our country will be doing acts of service. There'll be parades. There'll be speeches. There'll be all types of volunteer opportunities that people will be doing. In addition to D9 organizations, there'll be church groups and all other civic organizations doing wonderful things in his name, in his honor. What I do know that all of my friends that look like me and my allies, they will not be participating in anything with dealing with the inauguration at all. Anything associated with it. Our focus will be totally on unity, inclusion, trust, respect, and service. My guests and I are going to discuss King's teachings, his legacy, and are they still relevant today? And what about Malcolm? So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about these two great leaders, and among a few other things. And I'm gonna bring up my guests right now. If Zachary Clipper is anywhere out there listening, Zachary, I need you to sign back on. Okay, you can tell this is a live show, folks. All right, this is definitely live. Okay, first up, I'm going to bring up Dr. Lee Young. She teaches a variety of subjects ranging from English to communication and sports management. Dr. Young has done many academic presentations ranging on topics from the intersection of music and writing, athletics, and social responsibility. And she has interest in theology in the context of societal issues. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Lee Young.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Absolutely. Always good to have you. Okay, and next up, I'm having all kinds of little technical things. I need somebody to help me. Loretta Thomas Walker. She is happily retired, okay? As a logistics project manager who served over 36 years for the United States Department of Defense in Warren, Michigan. Loretta's duties and responsibilities required extensive worldwide travel to assure that federal regulations and procedures were met. She left her mark as an esteemed leader at her institution there in Warren, Michigan. And she is also my soror. Welcome back to the show, Loretta.
Thank you, Sora. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Lee, to be discussing this wonderful issue with you.
Yes, definitely. And thanks for your service. My gosh, 36 years. Wow.
36 years. That's why she's happily retired, okay?
Well, I see the smile. That says it all right there.
Right. And last but certainly not least, Zachary is holding it down for the men. I can't tell you how hard it was for me to get a male on the show today. Everybody,
well, it's because it's AFC Championship Day.
Yeah, it was
That's That's why I jokingly said, I sent an email. I said Zach was watching the game.
But there were a lot of guys that were truly sick too. That illness is going around. But anyway, last but not least, I have my man Zachary Clifford Sr. He's back again this week. He was on last week. Zach is a native Detroiter. He worked in TV production, spent the last 18 years in customer service with a national grocery chain. In the early 1980s, Zachary was a founding member of the Ann Arbor chapter of the National Black Independent Political Party. He is a Pan-Africanist who believes in the unification of the Black diaspora, and he was a relentless worker on the Harris Walks campaign. Welcome back, Zach.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right. So, guys, I hear myself echoing. Somebody's got the video on or something. Yeah.
Who is it?
I think it might be Zach. Okay.
Is it off now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So look, when I was preparing for this show, I really was trying to do a lot of deep breaths. And so where do we begin? So let's just start with this very simple question. And it's for all three of you. How are you feeling today, this January 19th, 2025? How are you feeling?
Wow. I personally try to allow God's spirit to permeate in mind. And I was talking, went somewhere yesterday at a restaurant, and this lady and I were talking. She just said her pastor was just telling them that, reminding them God is in control, God is in control. And then when she said that, that reminded me of when I lived in Florida. My pastor, my former pastor, taught about the various wills of God, and circumstantial, permissive, and permanent. Well, not permanent. I'm thinking, I can't remember the exact term, but providential will. So this is almost like it's his permissive / circumstantial will. I personally, I have to rely on scripture. Otherwise, I would just be like, having a second response.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way I can deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can deal with it. And that's the way I choose to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And right now, my current pastor is doing a teaching series on joy, and I'm not going to let these people rob me of my joy.
That's right.
Because, you can it's almost to the point you can just imagine be driving, and you can just sense who supported him and who didn't. And I'm like, as I'm driving, I'm listening to my music. I'm like, I'm not going to let y'all infringe upon my joy.
Right. That's right. Zach, I think you've got something on in the background, and I can
No, not now. I don't.
Okay, I hear something. Okay,
I had my TV up, so I turned it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Thank you. Okay, so who wants to go next on that? How you feeling? Question. Zach, you want to go? Go ahead.
I'm feeling heartbroken from last night. The Lions lost.
Oh,
I know. I sure thought about all of y'all from Detroit.
But as far as what's going to happen tomorrow, I'm like Whoopi Goldberg. I just got my popcorn ready, and I'm ready to observe what's going to happen to this country in the coming months.
Yeah.
Because he will not be able to blame those Democrats, blah. He can't say that.
No.
Can't say that. You got the House and you got the Senate.
Right.
Quite as it's kept, you got the Supreme, most of the Supreme Court in his pocket too. Can't say nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Correct. My feelings about tonight, and of course tomorrow afternoon. Of course, I won't be watching television. I will not be watching television at all. Now, some people are saying that we should have the television on, watching Food Network or something like that. But I don't generally watch television until 6 o'clock anyway, so I can watch the world news and things like that. But
Mhm.
I completely agree. God is in control, always in control. There's nothing that won't happen that he isn't already aware of, and that he is going to carry us through. If I can say this right now, because I think I need to just say it right now up front, God got us. Now I'm gonna go into details about what I say about that, but God got us. Well, let me just say it right here. I'll just give it right now. We, the Black, the African American community, we've always been able to strive and take on whatever ills that happens in society. Always. So God have us. God have us, and He is not going to let us just face this without being able to deal with this. We got this, y'all. It's gonna be 4 years. Now, I'll be honest with you. I tell all my friends, I tell all my friends and all my family members, I tell them, these are lean years. Go out and purchase what you can purchase. Air filters for your home, yes, purchase them because you're gonna need them anyway. And as we all know, the tariffs are gonna go up. And these are items that are going to affect us, our homes. But I'll go detailed into more. I'm saying too much. I'll let everybody else speak.
You're not. No, you're not.
No.
No, you're not. You know,
But yeah.
conversation. So we're
Thank you.
good. We're good.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
so getting starting to get into the meat of the discussion. So Dr. King's peaceful protests that were all too often met with violence, with the water hoses, the dogs biting and billy clubs and all that. They were disciplined economic, his disciplined economic boycott that, excuse me, that had Black folks walking and carpooling for 382 days from December 5th, 1955 to December 20th, 1956 was very, very effective. Now, can we collectively do something like this again? Can we?
Well, there was supposed to be a boycott of Walmart because of the stopping of DEI, and I've heard various, anecdotal comments that it was working up to a point, and then they said Walmart came out with a fake burqa bag or something, and
Yes.
Black people went back into Walmart. But since I was never a Walmart shopper, because I know the history of their country and their anti-unionism, I never was a big supporter of Walmart.
I have to say, and now I will say this: I have some friends that work in corporate Walmart, and I'm disappointed that they did that, because I have people who I care about in positions in that company. So that concerns me too for them. But I will say I have not been in Walmart for over a month and a half now, and it feels weird because I'm a big Walmart girl because my plants died, but now it's been so cold here that it's no point in me trying to replant them again, my pansies. So I've got to discipline myself to go to Lowe's, and I haven't been to Walmart in a month and a half. I haven't. So,
All right.
Well, with regard to DEI, I don't understand why people are so anti DEI, because it's like it's almost a sub context that they want permission to mistreat people. That's the way I see it. Like,
not almost. Not almost.
I'm trying to be nice, right?
It's actually the Southern strategy. I said that last week too. Is that you say things that convolute the conversation about what it really is. Like at first it was woke, then it was CRT, now it's DEI. Who knows what's going to be next? But it's the same thing. Like, it's anti-Black.
It's almost like if people of color affirm it, they have to be against it.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Yeah. But it is us who weather the storm. It is always us who've always weathered the storm. They can say what they want, they can plot what they plot, but it's always us who rise above and still get things accomplished. There are
Yeah.
going to be issues that are going on right now. And this DEI concept that they're talking about, as the brother said, they'll use something else. But the question is, how will we weather and get above it? How will we get above it and strive against it? So, like I've said, I've told all of my friends, purchase what you can purchase. Get what you can get, because these are going to be lean years, very lean years, and we need to have ourselves ready. We don't need to be out there worried and wondering what's going to happen. That should be the least of our problems. We need to weather and get ourselves ready for what's going to happen from a standpoint politically, because this character, I'll say it like that, this character and his Goonies have plans. And they plan to initiate things day one.
Day one. 50 executive orders out. 50. And after the inauguration, he's supposed to sign them in that what's the name of that Superdome there in DC, Zach?
The rotunda.
Rotunda?
No. The sports arena place. What's the name of it there in DC?
I don't know.
Whatever that is,
For
he's he's just there today where he had a rally. He's gonna go. They're gonna have another kind of rally type party thing, inauguration thing after he gets sworn in, and he's gonna sign executive orders, like 50 of them or something, in front of everybody. That's what I heard.
He just loves this.
He's a showman. He's a
He
showman.
is. He really is. You know, he does not care about the people at all.
No,
you know, he doesn't. He just doesn't care, and they're so blinded they can't see that he doesn't care about them. They're just like, again, right now with this TikTok thing, it is such. And I put it in our group. Rahm Emanuel, you know, is he called him out basically on CNN. He said that he was the one who started the ban against TikTok. Now all of a sudden he's going to try to run in as the savior. And these people forget. They don't know their history. They don't do their research.
no.
They forget he's the one who started it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, just to give an example. But what I don't understand is this. Why can't these people who've been making, you know, apparently they've been monetizing TikTok, they should pull their intellect together and create their own American version of TikTok. I don't understand that.
We have a black app called by Isaac Hayes III called Fanbase.
Okay.
Hopefully more people will get on that.
Yeah, hopefully that'll get traction. Yeah.
It needs a lot more traction. But let me get this subject back. So collectively, I asked the question, we didn't really answer this. Can we do something? Well, we did talk about this. Can we do something like that again, like what Dr. King said? But if we try to, do we need a leader? Do we need someone of his magnitude and presence to help guide that forward? Because I you know, some of us are doing things, but how do you mobilize? And if so, who in today's circle, who comes forth as a leader of that magnitude to you?
You know, and he did that without the social media.
Of course he did.
I mean, those people marched on Washington. They didn't have what the social media that we have today. No. But I'm thinking, President Obama, maybe somebody younger. I don't know. You know, maybe the young man from Tennessee, the representatives from Tennessee. You know, they could, which would be so, you know, prophetic almost, because Tennessee is where Reverend Dr. King was assassinated, and it would be just so heir apparent that they who are in Tennessee would be the ones who pick up that rallying cry, that baton, if you will, and pick it up and take it on for him. You know.
What do you think, Zach? How do you do this? You could do it with social media, but do you think that we don't have a person like King? anywhere close, in my opinion. Maybe I'm missing somebody. I don't know.
I don't know if we have a person like King, but I don't know if we need a person like King. I think we need a person with a lot of economic experience that can help us get our money together, pool our money, invest in our own communities, and learn how to wield our economic power. We have a little bit of political power, but
Economic.
it's money that's going to change the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
have a situation
Go
here.
ahead. Sorry.
We have a situation here where we're looking for a leader to be here. There are several leaders, I believe, that we can use. As she mentioned, as with the Tennessee gentleman down there, there are several leaders that can still mobilize us that are out there on the West Coast that can do things. Right now, they've got their issues right now. But we do have several leaders, and I don't think it can be just one. At this point, we're concerned with just one leader, but maybe there needs to be a series of several. Because as the brother said, from an economic standpoint, but also from a political standpoint, we have a moment here as the Democrats in office, senators and congressmen. We have a moment here where they can leverage things to their advantage if they use it correctively. There are issues that are going on right now that they can make comments and make conversations and just determine whether or not they will go with or not go with. Mike Johnson is very frail right now. He's afraid of what's going on. These are times right now that we can use the Democrats to go in there and make the changes that needs to be changed. I think if some of them are brave enough that are in Congress, and I believe some are, they could be part of that leadership plan and then perhaps come together and then maybe select just one person to be that. Again, we've got problems with people who are afraid of making decisions because they're scared. They're scared big time. There's a lot of people who are afraid. There's a lot of our youth who are watching us very carefully here. But there's a lot of people, our youth, who are wondering what do they do. Some of them are there waiting patiently.
Well, okay. Well, so I guess our overall answer is that we don't have a specific leader that I really think we need to do generational transformative change at this point. We do not need to keep looking back to baby boomers, maybe some Gen X's or whatever. There was Bishop Vashti McKenzie. I will never forget. She came to our church a couple of years ago. It was during the pandemic, and she said something that hit so strongly to me. She said, "Stop not allowing younger people to lead." She said, if they're under 40, so let them lead, please. Don't wait till they get 40 or whatever. She was saying, let them lead. And then she started mentioning, when Dr. King, when that boycott was going on, he was just a young 20-year-old, like 24 or something like that.
John Lewis, same thing.
John Lewis was younger than that.
Yes.
So we have to, that's one thing that really frustrates me within the Democratic Party is that we are not using that generational change. Those old heads that are in place, who are you bringing up behind you to take your place? It shouldn't be as hard for them to find the money and stuff when you've been sitting in that seat forever. See what I'm saying?
You have, just look at what just recently happened between AOC and I can't remember the guy because he's so old, but they chose him over her,
right.
She is representative of the current and next generation of young leadership in the DNC.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they went with him because to be an example.
Yeah,
that was Nancy Pelosi's doing.
Probably.
Yeah, well, I read that too, something to that effect too, which is unfair.
I like Nancy, and I'm not ageist or anything, but I'm sorry. You gotta give people opportunities. You gotta give them opportunities. You just have. Let's see. Oh, we got some more people. Oh, it's a lot of new
comments
from Alabama. Watching from Alabama. All right.
When it comes to leaders, I would like to put my superwoman in there, Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, my girl. That's my
Yes,
girl. Yes,
yes.
definitely. She has, I mean, she has a clap back in her pocket all the time.
Oh, and you know what? I don't mean to get off topic, but when Nancy May started yelling, "I'm not your child. I'm not a child. I'm 40 some years," and I was like, "Girl, you don't even know vernacular. You don't know language. You know,
Yeah,
when we say child, we're not talking about child. We're talking about CHILE. Child.
yeah.
It's a, you know, it's a.
And then trying to come back, trying to be tough. What did she say?
What
If you
did
want
you
to take it outside. I'm like,
Girl,
please.
are you kidding? I know it's
Jasmine will clock her in 5 seconds.
Well, they claim she knew exactly what Jasmine was talking about, but she wanted to gin up her base. That's
Hmm.
why she did it.
Yeah, that killed me doing that mess.
Yeah. And Renee Shaw put up, I believe we need to be looking at this differently. This is a class warfare issue, which hits people of color harder. We're going to get into that because I have some video and stuff.
Hmm.
Want to, we need community and young tech savvy leadership. Amen, Judy. Amen. Let's see.
Going back to what Renee said, and then segueing into what Judy just suggested. What Renee just said is so true with regard to class warfare. That's what I want to say. Was it last week somebody talked about financial literacy? That's why we need to have financial literacy workshops in our schools right now. And then not in the school, somebody in the community needs to do that.
Right.
We've done it with the transitional program that I've worked with and taught with.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a local bank that does that. They go out to the schools and they do financial literacy workshops for these kids. And then what Judy just said, local, and for those of you who don't know, I'm in the St. Louis area. They have right now coding for young people, teaching them how to code.
Yes.
That's the direction in which, we're going.
Right.
Being tech savvy.
One thing that and this is veering off a little bit too in education, one thing that I am really proud of in North Carolina, and I believe it's happening across the board for the most part, I think, with any place that has some savvy governors, that people are really looking to utilize their community colleges where people can be taught trades and things like that, where they don't get into so much debt.
Yes.
For school. I think that that's one of the great things that people are learning.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys who are watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button wherever you're listening to. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. Please, it's a free way to support the channel. Okay, so tomorrow, one of the maggots, perhaps several, even the orange one, I know he's going to do it. They are going to have the utter gall to say one of Dr. King's quotes. And people like Senators Tim Scott and that big dude in Florida, I deliberately don't remember, Byron Scott or something.
Byron
Rogers, yeah.
That's
Donalds.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Always trying to sit next to Trump. They will all try to use Dr. King's words to gaslight us. That's for sure. We know that. So, guys, I want to play for you all. Let me see here. I want to play for you all this one video. It's actually Minister Farrakhan talking about what Harry Belafonte said about Dr. King in his few days before he passed. And I want to play that for you. And I have a few others. Okay, share. All right. Here it is.
Powerful people, and to hell with the weak, the poor, they must serve. Harry Belafonte said a few weeks before Martin Luther King was assassinated, they were meeting to talk about the march in Memphis. he went over to his brother, and according to his words, he said, Martin, you seem melancholy. What's troubling you? And Dr. King said, I fear that I am integrating my people into a boom house. We don't see the fire, but the house is burning. He said to my dear brother Harry Belafonte, we have to be firemen to put the fire out. I said, no, we must let the fire burn. When John baptized Jesus, he said, I baptize you with water, but there's one coming after me that will baptize you with fire. Why fire? Because nothing remains in its present form when fire touches it. If you have made a promise that you don't keep, what are you? You are a liar. Did they promise the Native Americans? Did they write it in treaties? Did they fulfill it? Did they promise us 40 acres and a mule? Did they fulfill it? Brown versus the Board of Education. 50 years later, where's the promise? Is it fulfilled, or are we still in segregated schools? The right to vote, you got it? But the minute they gave it to you, they were finding ways to take it back from you. Can't you open your eyes and see the house is burned? And that's why God said, if my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive your sins and heal your land. So don't look to them, look to God, look to yourself, break your covenant with hell and death, then make a covenant with Black America, and let's help implement a roadmap that will free us, and the whites that will be freed can be freed by this. The Mexicans, the Hispanics can be freed by this roadmap. We are a universal people. But those at the top, they're on their way to hell. And if I got any power, I want to push them into hell as fast as I can. We are a full nation now. And
Wow. Wow.
Love it.
Absolutely. I know.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Again.
So Minister Farrakhan just how he doesn't mince any words at all. But on another video that I have, and that was in the same year that Dr. King was assassinated, it was all about the economics, and that's what he was saying too. It's real, it's about what Black power. Not just Black power, but the poor. Dr. King started that whole poor people's movement, which Bishop
Barber
has totally reactivated, and that includes everybody. And see, that's the thing. And when I show you this other video, it shows how they didn't want that because he was already too powerful, and that's why King is gone. Because if poor white people would understand, it's not about this. They'll make everything about just color and stuff. Yeah, it's that too, but it's money. They don't care about, you're poor. Trump doesn't care about. They think that they are he's their savior and stuff. He doesn't care about them. Look at all of those oligarchs up there that's going to be there tomorrow. I'm not watching it, but we know that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
All of them, they got front row seats.
Well, you know, 1 year before Dr. King was was murdered, assassinated, he gave a speech that was entitled "Beyond Vietnam: Breaking the Silence," in which he talked about all the things. He gave a history of the Vietnam War and America's involvement, and then he also talked about how the money spent over there was affecting domestic policy here. And you're right. The reason why he's gone is because he started crossing that line from just a black leader to a people leader.
Right, right. And I have the video on that too. And it's so interesting. And so when you really start to study all of this, it just I mean, you know, it's mind-boggling, because the bottom line is, the question is, why are people poor? We have more than enough in this nation where people don't have to be without anything. Without anything. All we are so behind so many other countries like Canada with all of their universal health care and all of those wonderful things they have. And I'm like, what, why are we here?
Again, the Black community. I have to stress the Black community every time I speak here. The Black community, we're the ones who can weather whatever's going on in this country. We're the ones who have always been the heartbeat, the pulse of the entire nation. Whenever there's something incorrect, we're the ones that we say and we point it out. We point out things that other people haven't even thought about. Now, the question of the hour is, you're correct. There is money out there that everybody has. Are we willing to try to pull it together? Are we willing to try to do what we need to do? Are we willing to try to look and see who we can get there? As the young people, as we said, the young people there are needed. We need them. And can we use the money that we have to do this? Will people stop being greedy and thinking of themselves only? Because we shouldn't think like that. We've never, before somewhere like the 1970s, we never thought about this. We always thought collectively as a complete whole. Now everybody thinks, and they think only for themselves. And we need to get back to that place where we start thinking about how to do this collectively. And how to get there, now that's the catch. How to get there so we don't play this game that we're playing now with these people, these oligarchs who are going to be there, because they're going to be there. They're going to get what kind of money they can get. They're going to do what they can do. But it is us. How do we get back there, and how can we ignore it and get there? Now we can all pull together, but we need effectiveness. I believe you had somebody on your show somewhere in September, I believe it was, who were talking about, they had their own Essence program that they were talking about. I forget who those people were. They had an idea. Yeah, they were talking about who they wanted to represent and use for political satires. I want, those are the people. I need to go find my thing, because they had a program going on in Louisiana in October. They are the ones. They're some of the ones that we need to use. And if we can get people off of these ideas of just thinking of themselves only, and start getting back to the collective like we should be.
You know, I guess when you get older, you just start thinking differently, right? And one thing that's been so troubling to me is that, the word says that greed is one of the 7 deadly sins, right? And I'm gonna tell you, when you look at these oligarchs, how many have you heard of any philanthropic trust that Musk has done? Have we heard of anything that he's
None that he's done, but I have heard that Bezos has done some.
Yeah, Bezos, yes.
He has his foundation.
But but Musk, I have not heard of not one thing.
Nothing.
Nada. Zero.
And that's why I think deportation needs to start with him. Go back to South Africa, period.
Yes.
Period. Go back to South Africa.
Well, Musk is not just content with being the shadow president of
Oh,
America.
no.
No.
He's going around to all these countries and propping up right-wing dictators and other oligarchs,
Yeah.
trying to get everybody on the same page of oppressing the working class.
And you know, I'm reminded of, and I my students will tell you, I love one of these sages, you all's homeboy Eminem. Love Eminem. I'm always quoting the line from Lose Yourself. He talks about New World Order. And but he was talking about it in a positive context. These people are trying to do it in such an ugly, mean-spirited, nasty context.
Right.
You know, that they want that New World Order that, you know, that is just hideous and horrific.
Hideous and horrific. Hideous and horrific. You know, what do you guys think if Martin Luther King were here today? Now, obviously, he'd be very aged. He would be 90,
Oh,
way
yeah, he would be.
But had he lived at least to his 80s, do you think we would be in the shape that we're in now?
You know, I often wonder about him. I often wonder about, you know, what if JFK had lived? What if JFK Jr. had lived? You know, definitely, you know, it's always what if. And it's a sad commentary that people are so intimidated by people like us who don't look like them. You know, and it's crazy. It just makes no sense that they don't want. And again, I think that's the reason why they're talking about deportation so much, because they don't want these people. They want certain people. They're okay with certain people who,
like Melania. You got to be from Norway and places like that.
Yes, you know, but they don't want these black and brown people coming to this country and fulfilling the American dream. How dare they? How dare they?
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why it's going to be hard to have a class revolution, because these people think that if they're one step above black and brown and yellow people, that they've reached some kind of success. So, you know, I heard a person on TikTok saying the reason why we don't have universal health care is because of racism. The reason why education is so expensive is because of racism. What they do is they take things that was previously cheap and they deliberately add a cost to it to try to keep us out of it. And I also tell people, you could tell how good a job pays sometimes just by the lack of diversity on it.
It's true.
I know people who are black people who are heavy equipment operators. And when you go down near a construction site, you very rarely see a black person driving a bulldozer, driving a crane and all that stuff, because they make a lot of money.
Okay,
So
I never thought about that, Zach. That's a very good point.
But
Wow.
I'm reminded of this quote, and I tried to put the link in the chat for everyone, but it wouldn't take for whatever reason. But the quote is by President Lyndon Baines Johnson: "If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket.
Exactly.
Hell, give him somebody to look down on. He'll empty his pockets for you."
Right, and that's exactly what Trump has done to all of these poor folks, and they think that he wouldn't have them at Mar-a-Lago. Period. He would not want them there. Because you know Trump is sexist, racist, and classist. Come on now. That's who he is. Period. Like period. Now listen, I want to show you this. This happened in 1968. And this really shows where Dr. King was going and why he's not here anymore. I'm going to show this video. Right.
Now, I want some of you all to go to Washington with us, even if you have to bring a whole family. We are going to have in Washington facilities, and we're going to have food, and we are going to demand that the government do something about these conditions. And we want y'all to come on to Washington when you get out of school.
With the Poor People's Campaign, Martin is talking about taking these poor people to Washington, build tents, and live on the mall until this country did something about poverty. Said, you know, we can do better than this.
We assembled here together today with common problems.
He started to look at the option of bringing all poor and suffering people together. And it's like, you know, sort of, doggone it, let's take on the whole system. Let's deal with the systemic poverty.
Thank you very much. We're rushing to get over to Alabama, and we've enjoyed being in Mississippi today. Many people will go into Washington by foot. We're going to have a mule train also coming out of the South. In 1776, the nation signed a huge promissory note. In this campaign, we're coming to get our check.
King was in fact talking about redistribution of wealth. He was talking about passing money down and shaking the system up. The Poor People's March on Washington was going to shake the government to its core.
Can you imagine what will happen if all these black and white and brown people will go to Washington and build tents and live in tents in Washington? You're talking about a redistribution of the wealth of this country? Oh, no. No, no, no. You're talking about new tax laws? No, no. Don't let King get to Washington.
Wow.
All right, y'all.
And there was a 68, you said?
Yes, that was in 1968.
And here we are, what, 53 years later, if I'm doing my math correctly?
Yeah, when was
You
he
know,
assassinated?
don't let him get to Washington, but let a
Yes.
convicted felon get to Washington.
Well,
Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
you got that. But yeah, that was in 1968, and of course, King was assassinated when?
In 68.
April.
1968.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that that organization I was talking about is ADOS.
Yes,
yeah.
I did.
Mhm.
That was my largest show I've ever had to do.
Mhm.
That they are the American descendants of slavery, and
Yeah.
there's
Mm-hmm.
what there are things that they say that I agree with, and there are things that I don't. But you know
Right.
what? It's a democracy, and I love learning, and I love, unless you on here and you a mag, I don't do MAGA stuff. But I thought I learned so much from them, and I was planning to have them back.
Yes.
And I keep in touch with the local leader here of ADOS. His name is Johnny Durant. He's in Raleigh. And so he might be, who knows, Johnny might be watching this now. I don't know. But yeah, I plan to have them back. But what were you going to say about them, Loretta?
They also mentioned that they were funding certain people for political positions. They were funding a lot of people that they wanted, but they only had certain ones that they wanted to focus on financially. And they had the summit to discuss who they were funding there that in October.
Mhm.
That's what we need. We need to get back there to where we're doing things from a financial standpoint where it makes a difference to those people out there. And when I say those people, you know who I'm talking about. We need to make a difference with them. We need to get with that organization and others and
Mhm.
fund and finance what we want to do. Because if we continue to walk around here
Mhm.
wondering and questioning, we'll just continue to walk around wondering and questioning. Then we're out here looking like we don't know what we're doing. And we don't need to have that situation. We need to be in control of our finances. We need to be in control of even the people that we pick. And we have an opportunity right now. If the Democrats will notice this, we have an opportunity where they get to play games with the Republicans and say, no, we're not going to vote on that.
That's
They
right.
can make some choices right now.
They
can do these things.
We do have the power because, and the thing is that unlike the situation that we currently have in our entertainment world, where you got Snoop and Nelly and them, doing another thing, we all need to and we have to put it upon all of our Congress people to do what we say to do because we elected you in those offices. And we need to be signing petitions. We need to be writing. We need to be putting out posts on social media. We need to be doing all of these things and calling these people out because that's what it takes. That's what it's going to take. We have to resist. We can't. What we cannot do is to roll over and play dead. We cannot do that and feel sorry for ourselves. We can't do it. We just absolutely cannot do it. I thought Suzette's comment was interesting. She says, this is why, I think she's referring to the video I just showed. This is why Kamala couldn't win. She was basically promising the same thing in her policy declarations. And I agree. I
think if Martin had lived, if Malcolm had lived, and people like Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, I think we would have had a different mindset today. And we need a new mindset right now because no way could I see Martin Luther King being around and we running around throwing the N-word out like it's nothing and calling each other bees and all this stuff and glamorizing the stuff that's glamorized nowadays.
Right.
And I think until we take control of our media and put music back where it belongs and not glorifying the wrong things, we're going to continue to struggle. Our children are constantly bombarded with negative, angry music, and that gives them license to go out and live on a shoestring temper where they so quick to shoot each other, kill each other over little of nothing. And until we get a new mindset, until we can bring back, like in the 70s when we used to call each other brother and sister and start a new Black Panther party or something like that, we're going to continue to struggle.
Well, you know what? It's interesting you should say that because there is a show that I plan on doing. It's going to be a culture talk, and it's going to talk about the music industry and the corruption and how a lot of this garbage rap, how it went from positive and revolutionary and fight the power and all of that good stuff, and then it flipped to bees and hoes and just sex of all kinds. I call it body part music and all of that type of thing, and how it just flips your mind. It corrupts your mind. And you get into it because the beat is down, right? The beat is good. But when you beyond the beat, do you hear what these people are saying?
And that's so very true because I used to teach at a music industry school. As a matter of fact, I always say technically Nelly was my boss because the school used his name to kind of, since he's from St. Louis, they use his name to get students in. But that's what I used to tell my students. Most of them were aspiring rappers. You had a few aspiring country artists, aspiring R&B singers, producers, etc. But I used to tell them, regardless of the genre, listen to the song. And more so than ever, listen to the songwriters when they're being interviewed. What prompted them to write this rap? What prompted them to write this R&B song or whatever? Because that is where it's good to get hooked into the beat. Okay, fine. But it's the lyrics, because if you think about, who is it? Missy Elliott's Work It. I'm like, that song is rather vulgar, and I love Missy, but I'm like, that song is something else, and then
Probably
a few others.
body part songs, because it's no more about the love and all of that stuff.
Yeah, the R&B from back in the day,
What they do with certain body, I mean, it's just, and you cannot garbage in what
Garbage out.
You cannot feed love and nurturing and kindness.
Most of us grew up with that rhetoric, positive rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember Jesse Jackson coming to my grade school when we were in the 6th grade, and he told us, he said, "You say this," and it was call and response. I am somebody, affirming us little black kids from the hood.
Yes.
Stuff that's missing today. That is missing today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that gets back to that whole question earlier in the show about who are the leaders. Who can we identify as someone or a small group of them or two of them or whatever to kind of spearhead that movement of turning things around? Because realistically, I'm gonna tell you, we're kind of rudderless. A lot of us know things, just like this show. And by the way, guys, share this show with your friends and family and stuff, so that the whole idea is to get these conscious talking points and things going, so we stay motivated and stay thinking positively about ourselves and what we can do, right? So anyway, we have to, we can do this, but we can only do it together. But I do think that we're rudderless in that we don't have one person to really focus, to channel us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think there's ever going to be a day again where we have one charismatic leader, because I don't think the media and the powers that be are going to let something like that spring up again. But we have to have a collective movement of people coming together and trying to do what's best for the community. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know it, but there's a big movement over in Africa right now to kick the colonial powers out.
Yes.
The president of Burkina Faso
is
doing great things for his company.
Yes.
He's paid off all their debt.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's building factories and different things
He's
for the
kicking
people.
Names.
He gets up early in the morning and walks the country. And I saw a video of him up early in the morning before sunlight, complimenting and talking with the street cleaners and stuff. And he's changed the whole idea of what a leader is, because for so long in Africa, what the colonial powers would pick one person and concentrate all the power in that one person, and the people would suffer. But now this new set of leaders, and it's not just in Burkina Faso, but I think they call it the Sahel.
I forget.
I want to say compact.
Used to be what their name used to be, because what they're doing, they're changing the names of those countries and from the old colonial names
right
to the African names. And he's gotten rid of the judges wearing all those
wigs.
White wigs. He said, what are you wearing those white wigs for? Stop it. He's stopping
exactly that. And we got to do the same thing here, and it's going to have to start with us teaching our kids our history in the home, and like she said, what Jesse Jackson was doing, we're going to have to do that with our grandkids and our kids as we take them to school and put them on the bus when they're in that car riding with them. You got to teach them to say that I love myself, that I'm a leader, not a follower, what integrity is, doing the right thing when nobody's watching, and different things like that, until it's ingrained in them.
Right.
Because until it's ingrained in them, other things in this world is going to draw them away.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Renee says something, and I feel it's very applicable. The government and others knew exactly what they were doing by assassinating JFK, Dr. King, RFK, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, etc. What that did was take out so many leaders to the point the next generation was terrified to step up and take the lead for fear of death.
And you know, if
Yes.
you can put the fear of death in somebody, you can stop a whole lot of action. That's and that's the difference in those people over. Remember the guy, the heinous acts that they would do, and we would just say, "Oh, they're so terrible. They're suicide bombers and stuff." They don't fear death, right?
exactly.
So because they don't fear death, they are willing to go to those extremes. But you know, society, you know, and thank God we don't, you know, we don't have that type of that
And
type.
a lot of the pain and suffering can be attributed to one man who supposedly was passing for white and a down low.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Exactly.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, he
Yes.
was passing for white.
Yes,
Yes. You
there's a
know,
strong rumor that Hoover was passing for white,
strong.
and he had a lot of self hate.
And you could even when you
Wow.
you know who else I think is a passer for white, who I
Who's
suspect is got black blood, is Babe Ruth.
Wow.
Look at Babe
oh,
Ruth's body and
oh
his
yeah.
features. Look at
Oh,
his body
oh,
and facial features.
well, there's a story that at one point he was supposed to room with Ty Cobb somewhere, and Ty
Uh,
Cobb said I wasn't sleeping with that N word.
really?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because I was telling my mother, I said, you know what? I was looking at Babe Ruth. I said, that dude looked like he's black. He's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not good at telling, you know, because there's some there's a one newscaster. I did not realize she was black. And somebody said, Pam, you need to look, you know, pay attention. But you know, because some of us, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people can pass and they have, you know, but but I
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, but he was, yeah.
No,
Suzette,
Suzette
I'm going
just
to watch for what the ADLC is doing, because I think we need to watch them and watch and see that. Can I stress that not everybody should be watching Tubi all the time?
yes,
I
that's
believe
Fox News.
Roland Martin mentioned that Tubi was busy being paying money right into Fox. We don't.
They own it. Rupert Murdoch owns Tubi.
Yes, and I stress to people to get away from that, because you just give more money to Fox, and Fox has done some very cruel things to us. But I'm going to be watching this one organization, because I believe they're on top of what they're trying to do for us. And I believe once we get started with them, I think we can start the process of collectively thinking again. I have to keep stressing that to everybody. I got to get people thinking like that. And there may be a situation where somebody might have to pass away for us to get things rolling like we should get them.
We'll see. There was one more thing I wanted to share with you guys. There was unfortunately it's not in a video form, it's just in text. And it was what Martin Luther King, in his own words, how people felt Martin was soft. It was, you know, soft because nonviolence, love, and all that stuff, because he's a preacher. And then people looked at Malcolm as being hard and tough. And it is some language here about how, excuse me, they both what Martin thought about that. I'm gonna share that with you just a little bit. Okay.
As you're doing that, I want to go back to a comment that Suzette wrote. She said, "Dang, look at Abraham Lincoln with regards to being black." So Suzette, are you saying possibly that President Obama was not the first real black president?
Yeah, Here is a little. It says below. King explains his view of Malcolm X. There was this this thing right here in this middle paragraph. When they threw eggs at me in New York, I think that was really a result of the Black nationalist groups. They had heard all of these things about me, my being soft, my talking about love, and they transferred that bitterness toward the white man to me. They began to feel that I was saying to love this person that they had such a bitter attitude toward. In fact, Malcolm X had a meeting the day before, and he talked about me a great deal and told them that I would be there the next night and said, "You ought to go over there and let old King know what you think about him." And he has said a great deal about nonviolence, criticizing nonviolence, and saying that I approved of Negro men and women being bitten by dogs and fire hoses. So I think this kind of response grew out of all of that talk about my being a sort of polished Uncle Tom. This is gosh, when was this from?
This was before Malcolm took his Hodge, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because look at this. Martin Luther King explains his disagreement with Malcolm X. I'm sorry, I need to give you the context. This was by Dr. King, and it was done March 30th, 1965. Yeah. So it's interesting, the two men, but they only had that one brief introduction to one another in
Correct.
person at a presser March 26th of 19 dang Pam. See, memory gone. What did I wrote it down?
But Martin had once he went over there to Mecca, once he went over there.
Yeah, that changed everything. Yeah, it changed a lot.
I would tell you now that nonviolence is dead.
64, Pam.
It was
March
26,
26, 1964.
At least I got the month and the date right. 64. Okay. Yeah, that's when they met. First time they met. Here, Valentine Melton, she's another educator. She says it was rumored that Eisenhower was Black. I can see that. I'm going to tell you, you know what? Because Eisenhower, because my doctor, it was a very fair-skinned Black man. And I could see where he could have passed too, Dr. Thompson. I know my mom is in this chat. She's probably laughing when I say that, but I think about it. He could have.
I'm hearing another variation of Roots. I'm sorry. I'm hearing another variation. Maybe we need to do another variation, the presidential version of Roots.
Correct.
We might. Listen, guys. Oh, yeah. Jimmy Carter and Barry Gorder had the same great-grandfather. Yeah, we learned that.
I did not know that. Thanks, Karen, for sharing that. I did not know that.
That came out, I thought I put that in the group.
I learned that on TikTok the other night before it went dark.
I learned it. I thought I put it in the group too. Let's see.
Yeah, you did. You put it in.
Reverend Sharpton and he was a racist, and Strom Thurmond were related.
Oh, honey, listen, y'all. Look. Y'all remember when Strom Thurmond's Black daughter came to light, and she looked just like him in the face? Oh, poor thing. But yeah, that was so funny. My pastor back then, this
turned out to be a history lesson for me. I'm loving this.
Yeah, we can listen. We coming with the receipts. Look, Terry said 5 other presidents besides Obama were Black by bloodline. Uh-oh. See, Terrence was supposed I asked Terrence to be on the show tonight, but he said he would listen in. So I see you contributing, Terrence. So you off the hook. Oh, boy, guys. So listen, tomorrow's the day. I'm going to be with my sorority sisters at at a function, you know, a Martin Luther King function at a church in the morning. We're going to do some things. We've already done big donations of food and stuff like that. Any of you guys got any plans for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to church. My cousin's church is having they're having noonday service tomorrow, and quite a few of the Divine Nine will be there. So y'all always show up. Y'all always show up. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And I was a friend of mine, and I, as a matter of fact, I went to school with her brother, and then we were on Facebook all together last night, and she was saying, I'm going to treat myself to lunch. I was like, you know what? Soul food restaurants are missing out on an opportunity tomorrow for those of us who are electing to boycott the inauguration. They could have, at least local food restaurants here, I should say. I don't know what they're doing in you all's area, but I'm like, they could have made a killing tomorrow. But
I don't think we need to watch and listen to the inauguration at all.
It's a farce.
We can see clips of it after the fact. We do not want to give them the ratings.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Not to give them the ratings. We got work to do on King's Day. Nothing to stop Trump. We want his ratings to be in the tank. So don't turn on to that.
And someone made an interesting comment in one group that I'm in, that he's going to be doing the inauguration in the very same place. Oh, I know what it was. It wasn't in the group. It was on Saturday Night Live last night. They said he's returning to the scene of the crime. I'm like, where the insurrection took place.
Literally and figuratively, he will be at the scene of the crime. And it's just a mess.
I'm like, can the rotunda just blow up in flames or something?
God.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I'm not.
My organization, my sorority, will be doing a service organization of feeding the homeless and giving canned food to all the homeless and things like that. So we're doing that again, a day on, not a day off.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. All right. Oh, wow. You know what? I appreciate all you guys. Listen, all of you guys that are being very active in the chat, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Please, 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 please. Even if you're listening to it on Facebook, check out my YouTube channel and subscribe to it as well. Okay.
I can't believe
what?
I'm sorry. I still have to tune into football. Buffalo is getting ready to win.
Oh,
I can't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's my other passion, football.
Okay, well, listen, guys. It's we went overtime, which I knew we would. 12 minutes over, whatever. I appreciate you guys so much, and we'll see what the day will bring. But we are going to be positive, uplifted, and know that God's got our back in front and sides and all around us. And we'll take deep breaths and we'll keep moving, keep being positive, keep doing it.
Definitely.
Correct.
And we just have to keep lifting each other up. So thankful for social media that allows us to help each other from various parts of the country.
Yes.
And everything, I know when the semester starts officially this upcoming Tuesday, it's going to be a renewed semester for me. I'm going to go in with a renewed vengeance, so to speak.
Yeah.
And tell my students more so than ever, look, you have got to focus on getting your piece of paper.
Yes.
You got to focus on getting your degree. I say it all the time, but this time I'm going to just be more emphatic about it, more so than ever.
Right.
Karen
says that some judges are allowing January 6th insurrectionists to attend tomorrow. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Again, the double standards.
Yeah.
It's beyond sickening.
I want to see how many hostages get free tomorrow.
It's true. It's so much going on. It is just so much.
But with this hostage situation, it reminds me so much of remember when Jimmy Carter?
Yes, yes, yes. It
And then
reminds
here we are. It's almost like he's coming in and just taking all of the credit, just like
I'm not talking
Reagan
about
did.
the hostages over there. I'm talking about the J6 hostages.
Oh,
oh, oh, we're talking about Israel and Gaza.
we're talking about the genuine hostages, not those fake hostages.
Oh gosh.
Phony.
Oh my goodness.
Again, gaslighting.
I know.
Gaslighting. He just gaslights people.
Correct.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Well,
Well, listen,
Trump said I'm a hostage, so therefore, shut up.
please. I
Shut
know.
up.
I'll be glad when they get to the real reality juice. But listen, okay, you guys have a good restful
You as
night.
well.
In
You
the
as
morning,
well.
we got to get up and we got to do the work to support the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's it.
Agreed.
He would be proud. And on a little fun fact, and it may sound like I'm flexing here, but I was one of the early recipients when I was an undergraduate. My campus had an essay contest, and I won the essay contest of Dr. Martin Luther King's about his dream. And I have to when I find that essay, hopefully I can go back to our school newspaper and find it. But I'll share it in our group for you all.
Okay. All right.
And because I'm like, what did I say? What did I write about back then? I want to see what I wrote and compare it to today, what's going on today.
All right.
Oh, one last note. We just lost Charles Pearson. He was the youngest freedom rider.
Oh,
Back in the day, he died, I think
did
last week or whatever.
Oh,
At
wow.
the age of 83. I think he was 83.
Jeez.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
let's keep him in our hearts.
I did a show on some freedom riders and stuff with Shaw University, commemorating one of the big anniversaries. I got to go back to visit that. Yeah.
What about perhaps this is just something for you, Pam? Maybe talk to their descendants to see if they would be interested in picking up the mantle that their ancestors had. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Listen. Let me get some help with somebody to help me book all these guests and stuff. That's my hardest thing for this show is booking guests. Speaking of booking guests, if any of you know any political officers, people in offices, anything like that, that have special interests, a good conversationalist about specific things, let me know. That scroll across here, they can email me and what have you, because that will help me a great deal, because I'm gonna tell you that's the big lift in doing something like this, and then doing all the research and stuff too. But anyways, I digress. Let's say goodnight, because I got to get up early in the morning to go work.
Take care.
Guys,
everybody have a great week.
Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Good night.